Okay, good. So most of this information will be new to you guys, except for the folks that were there yesterday. So I'm just going to kind of cover basic overview of water trails in Georgia. So this is not a water trail currently. The Oconee River, North Oconee River, we're on right now. There's also the Middle Oconee River, which is kind of more west of Athens. And then they come together and they form the Big Oconee River, which then flows down, joins with the Moody, and then that turns into anybody know? What river?
Altamaha.
Yay, Altamaha, that's right. And then where does that go?
Gulf of Mexico.
To the coast. Which coast? Atlantic. All right, what about the Chattahoochee River?
The Gulf of Mexico.
Gulf of Mexico. That's right. So a lot of people don't realize that these rivers that, you know, we kind of see and hear about all the time, they actually go to either the Atlantic or the Gulf of Mexico, depending on which side of the Eastern Intercontinental Divide, which is this line that kind of cuts through North Georgia and goes down. And so all the rivers to the east go to the Atlantic, and all the rivers to the west go to the Gulf, at least on the East Coast. And one really cool thing about that is all the railroads would actually be built on top of the East Continental Divide, because that's the highest place, right? So they don't have to build a lot of bridges. There's some ups and downs, but anyway, just a kind of cool fun fact. So, water trails throughout the state is a concept that has been kind of gaining momentum over the last few years. And in particular, the national designation of the Chattahoochee River National Recreation Area as a national water trail, the first one, was huge for Georgia. I mean, you think of Georgia, we're not exactly the most progressive state, but we are the one that has the first national water trail. So that was really motivating for a lot of communities throughout the state of Georgia to kind of kickstart their water trails. And so currently there are 13 established water trails. And just to give you an idea of what a water trail is and what it is to be established is, you have to have a put-in and a takeout. The put-in and the takeout have to be short enough distance apart so that you're not putting somebody on the river for a huge long time and making it so they can't get out. And then also there needs to be some kind of public information available. So signage, kiosk, maps, a website, so ways for recreationalists to know about the water trail and how to get there, and any kind of safety information. If there's Niagara Falls around the corner, they need to know that that's, you know, going to be something they need to be aware of. And then also river etiquette. So those are other key things. You know, you've got property owners, and you need to make sure people are aware to respect their private property rights. And then also not to, you know, get out or you know, poop on the side. You know, there's all those kinds of issues that people need to be aware of. Leave no trace. And one really awesome thing about a water trail is that it doesn't cost much to build. If you think about these other trails, you know, they can be very expensive. So water trails, really what you need is a launch. And as much as we would love for it to be a well-built launch, it could really be a dirt ramp too. But, you know, it also needs to be maintained. So you could have a launch put in, but then, as in the case of the St. Mary's River, they had this water trail, but then it was kind of forgotten about. They didn't have a group behind it that was maintaining it and continuing to promote it. And so really, even though they originally were established, now we kind of took them off the list because, you know, you got to maintain your trail. You don't want to have your launches be in disrepair and be a safety hazard for people getting out there. So there's certain key elements that really are important, and having that support of the community and a group behind it is really key. And so one really awesome example of a water trail that's been very successful is the Etowah River Water Trail over in northwest Georgia. They have almost every single county that have shown their support through resolutions of support. And so not only is it the small grassroots folks that are supporting this trail, but it's the commissioners and the city managers and you know, people that are living in that community, whether all the businesses. So everybody's involved in you know, promoting the trail because it's such a great economic benefit to the community. It brings in tourism, so that's really important. Some other water trails that are doing really well, the Broad River Water Trail. So there's a couple folks here today that have been very instrumental in making that grow from being developing to established. And then also there's a group right now that's working on establishing the Oconee River Water Trail, and that's what we're on right now. So there certainly are challenges in getting support.
So this isn't an official water trail?
This is not an official water trail. It's developing is kind of what the phase is.
Is that process then?
It really all depends on the support level, who's involved. There's some communities that are all about it. They realize the benefits and they have the funding to help support. And then there's others that it's a brand new concept. They're very wary of liability issues, or it's all private property along the water. So you have to either get easements or buy the land to put in the access. It's really nice when you already have county land that's along the river that can become a park or another access point that the city or the county can support. So it really is a kind of a site by site, a dependency of how easy it is to get it through. But for example, the Etowah, it took probably at least six or so years for them to get all the counties on board. So it's a long process. And with the Oconee River, you've got the North Oconee, which goes right through downtown and also UGA campus. So it's an awesome opportunity. And so it's just getting the support is really the challenging part about it. Not to mention we've got the Greenway here, so it's kind of this multi-use trail is what we would love to see happen. So, and there's, like I said, all the different people that are living in the area, the community at large can benefit from the trail, whether it be from people coming in and spending dollars when they're on the trail, and then they go buy lunch, or they go use any of the outfitters that are along the river, or just going out to dinner, staying in hotels. All of that stuff is great economic benefit, and then also just the health benefits too. So as you know, in the public health, that's a huge thing nowadays, is reducing the whole obesity epidemic and getting people out to enjoy the resource and realize that this is such an awesome way to get exercise and enjoy the river. So that's kind of it in a nutshell, without getting too much into the nitty-gritty behind it. And so we have 13 established water trails throughout the state, and they're all over. I'm currently working on the Oconee River Water Trail, the Flint River Water Trail, which is down in southwest Georgia. Beautiful river if you've not been paddling on it. It's got blue springs, and it kind of reminds you of Florida. It's just gorgeous. And then the Oconee, which is another river down in South Georgia. And then what's the other one that I'm blanking on right now? Last year I worked with the Broad River and the Yellow River Water Trail, and they're kicking butt right now too. So there's a lot of rivers all around the state. So if you're interested in just going out and checking out a water trail, and doing a day trip, you can go to the Georgia River Network website. We also have a special section that's a clearinghouse that has all the different water trails and information about them throughout the state. So everything from how long the trail is, where the access points are. If you're a GPS guru, you got some lat and long points to help you kind of figure out that piece of information. A website, any kind of watershed groups that are supporting the trail. So definitely, take advantage of the resource and get out and check it out. Go spend a weekend, and get out and paddle. And a lot of the water trails do have outfitters in the area, so you don't have to have your own boat to enjoy it. So that's important for new paddlers. And then also, if you're living in an area and you don't know the name of the watershed group that's in the area, we have a directory. And if you say it, and I'm sure they do in whatever state you may be from, look it up. Find out who your watershed group is. Go to a lot of them have monthly meetings. Check out what their projects are, and if you're interested in starting a water trail, find out if there's a paddleable section of river that's in your community. Because it's really neat when you start to get involved in these kinds of projects, and you just become instrumental in the development. And it makes your heart feel really good. These things. So.
Can I put in a word from my sponsor?
Sure, do it.
Georgia Canoeing Association. The biggest challenge about paddling is who will go paddling with me, because we've got to have one car at one end and one car at the other end.
right.
So you got to have at least 2 people, and you really need 3 people to have a safe cattle trail. One to stay with somebody who's hurt and one to go to help. So the answer to that is you join the Georgia Canoeing Association. Costs you $35 a year. We run 4, 5, 6 trips every weekend. Day trips. Run probably a dozen, 15 overnighters, long weekends, all over the southeast, primarily in Georgia, but really all over the southeast. And we have a real good time together. GApaddle.com. You can sign up right there, and you're automatically a member, and you have access to the trip list, and all you got to do is call the trip coordinator and say, I want to join your trip.
And I'm glad you mentioned that, because the other awesome resource that Georgia River Network has is a calendar, and it includes all of the river trips that are put on by the different watershed groups throughout the state. So if you're not really at the point where you want to go out on your own, and you'd rather have somebody else that's organizing the trip and taking care of all the logistics, you can go to the calendar, figure out which date and where it is, and kind of have your hand held, if you will, to enjoy some of these, and find some of these secret spots that you probably wouldn't be able to discover on your own. There's a lot of amazing paddlers out there who have really spent many, many years exploring rivers throughout the state, and they found those little hidden gems. So definitely check those out. And Georgia River Network also has hidden gem paddles. There's 4 of them. The first one is going to be May 10th on the Oconee River. Anybody know where the Oconee River is?
Yes.
Anybody else?
I know where.
You know where the Oconee River is?
Yes,
Yeah, I was about
near
to say,
Savannah.
somebody should know.
Yeah, so near Savannah. It's beautiful. It's got like the Spanish moss and the gnarled cypress and Oconee lime. Just gorgeous. So we'll have that one May 10th. And then on August 23rd, we're going to do our paddle on the Oconee in Athens. And we're still kind of doing a scouting trip and determining where, because there's not a lot of access, especially if you're having a group of 80 people. Makes it a little more challenging. So we're going to determine which section for that one in August. And then the next one is in September, and that's on the Chattahoochee in Columbus. And that's exciting because they have a new whitewater park. Have you been, Tim, to the new whitewater park in Columbus?
I haven't.
You haven't? So it's very popular among like hardcore whitewater boaters, but then also those that are more novice will raft. So you can have beginners that will get in, and you have a raft guide, and it's all the crazy adrenaline. But what the story is they blew up the dams that were no longer being used from back in the middle days, and they put in a whitewater, what do they call that piece? It's like a turbulator or something like that. But it makes this huge rapid that's like class 4 or 5. So
No way, in the middle of
Downtown.
Wow.
yeah, and it's like one of the top 10 destination outdoor exciting destinations. It was in I think it was in USA Today, and it made
Columbus,
like
Georgia. Who would have
international
thought?
news and all this stuff. And then the last one is going to be on the Satilla River. Who knows where the Satilla River is?
When they had all these big rains, it was really good.
Oh, isn't it through the swamps down?
It's black
Sure.
water, yeah. So it's definitely swampy, and it's close down near the Okefenokee. If you look on here, this big green spot is the Okefenokee, right here. And the Satilla is right here. So it's close to like Cumberland Island, St. Mary's, that whole area down in the south part of the state, and it's just a really magical place. So if you get the opportunity to come down and join us, please do. It'll be a great
It's an
time.
easy portage.
We have all kinds of great opportunities longer than that. Week-long paddles and then 4-day paddles that we also offer.
Yeah, 2 miles.
All right, any questions about water trails? Or
Yeah, I think I have 3.
you have 3 questions.
Well, save them, I didn't interrupt you. You're on a roll, so I just let you.
Okay.
You said that Georgia was surprisingly one of the progressive ones that adopted the statewide water network. What year was that?
2012, and it wasn't a water. It's the National Water Trail System.
Okay.
So Obama, back in I guess it was 2010, I believe it is, that they have the Great American Outdoors Act, and so as part of that, they're encouraging people to get out, camp, do outdoor recreational sports, and also they established this national water trail system, and so.
And Georgia just decided they want to be a part of that?
Well, Georgia was designated by the
Forced.
Yeah, so they were very happy. We were very happy to have it, but in order to be considered a national water trail, you have a set of benchmarks that you have to fulfill. Similar to what our criteria are here in Georgia, but a lot more stringent, if you can imagine. And I guess it was a nice spot because the Chattahoochee River National Recreation Area, it's already national park. It's already, it wasn't like they had to deal with the property owners, or, it was kind of already there, easy. And now there's about, I believe, 15 or 20 national trails that have been designated.
And even though this isn't designated or adopted as a water trail by ACC, the public can still access and use it.
They can. We're on
Until
it.
somebody complains.
As long as
That's
you're
what I
not,
was wondering. So
as long as you're not
somebody come out
putting
here
in on private property or trespassing on private property, as long as nobody complains, then you're golden. So I wouldn't recommend going with a bunch of crazy, excited college students drinking beer and
Causing a
with their
ruckus.
boombox. Might not be good.
If somebody comes down with a shotgun and tells you to get off his river, I recommend you do that.
paddle as fast as you can.
Yeah, paddle as fast as you can in the other
Say, where
direction.
would you like for me to get off? On your property?
Or somebody else. And you mentioned the GIS pictures on your website. Is that all the launch points of the state, or just the ones that y'all want to see?
So there's various resources for access. The Department of Natural Resources just came out with their new interactive launch map, but that is only the DNR launch points throughout the state. So it doesn't have all the county launches and any of the other launches that are owned by different organizations.
GIS ones that y'all have?
Yeah, so another project that we're doing right now, we're working with the Environmental Protection Division on developing an interactive water trail map. And so we have an army of interns that are collecting data on all of the different water trails, all the access points, all of the points of interest, the amenities, parking, if there's a bathroom, if there's food, all that information that if you were going to go and paddle a trail, you want to know before you got there. And so right now we're about, I'd say, 2 weeks out from producing our first map. And that will be on our website soon.
That data, I guess, map, that data that you can download.
It's all it's all in the public domain, so anybody can download the data points or embed the map itself into their website, which is a great resource for some of these watershed groups that don't have a lot of money. So having this map, it's really handy. All right, mister. Y'all ready to paddle? Any other questions? Do you want to go ahead and do? Yeah, okay. Well, since we're all kind of together, I've asked Kevin to give us a blurb on the Greenway. So Kevin Williams, take it away.
I'm Kevin Williams. I'm with Athens Clark County Leisure Services in our park planning office, which we've kind of been getting up and running over the last year or so. And one of the things that we're working on right now is updating sort of the big master plan for the whole county for all of our greenways. And so that includes bike trails, multi-use path, hiking trails, and trying to add water trails to it as well for the whole county, not just, so we're looking at the water trails on the middle of Oconee, we've got an existing bike trail through here, kind of how that grows and serves the whole community as it's built out over time. And then right now we've got a 3.5-mile trail that goes, we'll kind of be paralleling today, it's over there on that side of the river right now. We were putting in on a piece of it over there. They go get the Scenic Creek Nature Center. We've got several different projects, one that's under construction on Blasphemy Street, from downtown to the river, and it extends south from where we are today, 2.5 miles to College Station Road, and we have some storage there. You can kind of see downstream from us earlier, there were big pylons in the river from an old railroad route, and it's called the Firefly Trail through there, and you built 3 big bridges that are going to go from downtown to the east side of it. Hopefully that project, as it grows, will go from Athens to Moody right down in Greene County and be a 39-mile trail when it's all built. then we're also on the middle of Moody. We're trying to figure out how to get started over there, and we've got a grant, I guess, from UON and Georgia River Network, and we're in the process of designing our first access point on the river and working with different folks at the university and trying to figure out where to take out. So they're kind of all the projects that we've got going on right now. We've also actually got another trail that's going to go up to another park. We're really trying to get a good network of different kinds of uses oriented towards the river and some of the tributary streams. There's a lot of different pieces around the county that we're really excited about. Big 300-acre hiking trail at a park in the middle of town. That's another one that we're working on too. We've got about 80 acres there that we've acquired. It's called Tallahassee property. It's kind of what it's referred to. And so right now we're kind of figuring out who the landscape architecture firm is going to be that does the big master plan. We've got a big grant way to come in and build trails. It's an exciting time for the Greenway in Athens. Hopefully in the next, maybe by the time you guys come back, we'll have a few more segments built.
And we're paddling along the Greenway. I don't know if you guys noticed the path and kind of grassy.
Yeah, so if you see those stone walls over there, that's an area called Agar Plaza, which was named after kind of the original landscape architecture professor back in the 70s, who kind of first proposed this whole system. And then Dudley Park was where we put in at, almost next to College Avenue, where we have another trailhead, and then up to Scenic Green Park. Kevin Williams? Yeah, any questions about any of that? A lot of
Tallahassee Park, is anything to do with the old Tallahassee Dam?
just below it.
Any plans to do a portage around or anything on that?
Yeah, that's I think what the Oconee River group is going to start doing. They'll start to ask. The dam itself is kind of half in our county and half in Jackson County, and so we're going to have to start making some partnerships with them to really figure out the best way to work around those sorts of things. And hopefully we'll also work with Oconee County, who owns the other half of the river, as you go further south, and see if they want to be part of the team for this.
And as we start building momentum and the more that we put in place, the more people are going to realize what a benefit it is, the easier it's going to be to get that funding. It's usually, you go for the low-hanging fruit first, obviously, and then hope that people will start jumping on the bandwagon and supporting the project. All right, let's keep paddling. Woohoo! Thank you for your attention. Are you gonna?
Yeah, I
Okay.
am going to